And welcome to Face the Nation on Freetown Television Network Channel 35. To contribute to the program, send text or WhatsApp messages to the number on your screen. You can also watch live on our Facebook page or YouTube pages. The tourism sector in Sierra Leone is one of the most important in Sierra Leone. And apart from the mining and the extractive industry, it might as well be the greatest breadwinner in the country for any government. Unfortunately, governments in the past have seen tourism industry as located way down the list of priorities, and this has been the ban on the industry in the country. Notwithstanding our great potential, tourist-wise, Sierra Leone, a small country in the West Africa sub-region, largely offers high-ended ecotourism experiences. This may include bird watching, sport fishing, climbing in natural preserves, such as Otumba Kilimi Natural Park, Lake Somfon, Gola Forest, and Tiwan Island Sanctuary, amongst others. With over 350 kilometers of prime beaches, the sector can also account for a considerable percentage of youth employment and revenue collection. When fully exploited, the country has a unique landscape, scenery, and cultural heritage desperately waiting to be exploited. Tourism challenges in Sierra Leone, the sector itself is faced with several core challenges.
Honorable Mrs.
Honorable Mrs. Dr. Memunatu Pratt is my guest today on Face the Nation, who is the Minister of Tourism and Culture. Welcome to Face the Nation. For the benefit of Sierra Leoneans, who is Dr. Memunatu Pratt? Mom, that's for you.
Yes, let me say good afternoon to everybody. I am Mrs. Memunatu Pratt. I am the current Minister of Tourism and Cultural Affairs. And I have been in this post since the inauguration of His Excellency, since the Sierra Leone People's Party won the elections. I've been on this post getting close to 6 months now. And it has been quite a very interesting journey because I inherited an industry as has been presented by the opening statement of my host. That is a sector that has had least attention, and it's a sector which priorities have been downplayed for far too long. So I inherited a situation wherein we did not have a proper tourism infrastructure. We had not established the governance infrastructure for tourism. We have not been able to organize the internal activities and processes that is linked to ministries, departments, and agencies, and we have suffered from a very poor image abroad. So looking at tourism now, we are actually coming back from the brink. We are trying to ensure that what has been considered as the least is now being considered as the first, especially with the pronouncement of His Excellency, President Julius Maada Bio, that tourism is going to be one of the key sectors that he is going to focus on in terms of diversifying the economic opportunities for Sierra Leoneans. And when we look at these opportunities, we are also talking about so many different kinds of options. We are talking about the hospitality industry, which talks about the hotels, the restaurants, and also we are also talking about the wildlife. We are talking about job creation. We are talking about economic investments. We are also talking about increasing the GDP of Sierra Leone, because once tourism comes up the ladder, it is going to have a multiplier effect on all of the various other sectors. And tourism cannot thrive if all the other sectors are not able to meet the necessary benchmark in terms of ensuring that tourism is given that kind of support. But in addition to that, there are many, many important opportunities that have been missed. We have natural beaches, we have natural resources, the flora and fauna, we have on 22 islands, we have beautiful resorts, islands like Bonf, we have Bon's Island, and then also we have over 16 beaches, then we have mountains, we have wildlife, we have so many that there are many countries in this world that does not have all of these natural resources that has to do with the promotion of tourism that Sierra Leone has. And it is very, very sad that over the decades, political will and leadership has not been able to factor tourism as the main center of growth and reviving the economy. If we had had a very good tourism investment, I am quite sure half of the challenges we are having today in terms of increased GDP, in terms of foreign exchange, in terms of job creation, in terms of expanding the small-scale industries, in terms of expanding the entertainment industry, I am sure things will not have been the same. But what the good news? The good news is that the current government has brought tourism to the doorstep internationally. Now, we participate in a number of international marketing programs. Of course, people will remember that just a few weeks ago, we attended the French tourism market, which was a huge success. To an extent that we did a press conference, we had a very big booth, we promoted Sierra Leone, we went to Sierra Leone, and we also had not only individual tour operators, but global tour operators to approach us to add Sierra Leone to the normal destination agenda. And we are also able to make quite a lot of inroads with the French market. And of course, people will know that in the 80s, in the 90s, and in the 70s, the French market was one of the biggest attractors for Sierra Leone. But that's gone down a while ago. And also it has to apply to the rest of Europe. But thinking about our activities when we went to France is the fact that we had some sad stories. The first one is the fact that even those who came from Europe lamented over the way in which Sierra Leoneans are portraying themselves on the international media, especially when it comes to social media like Facebook. Now, in fact, I had an opportunity of speaking with Sierra Leoneans in France. And of course, and then also in their midst was the Miss Sierra Leone for France. She was crying. She was crying because she had an opportunity. But when the research on Sierra Leone, what came up of Sierra Leone made her to lose friends. She gave me a very passionate message that please, Madam Minister, when you come, plead to Sierra Leoneans that the extent to which we are very unpatriotic and the extent to which we are implanting negative images about Sierra Leone is killing our programs abroad. That we will do good things, but the moment they research on Sierra Leone, bad images do come up. So in essence, what I am saying, as far as the French experience is concerned, we want Sierra Leone to grow. We have to be patriotic to an extent that we need to be given the positive news. Like for instance, all of those people who approached us when we went to France, and even when I went to Kenya, the one strong message is that when we reach out to Sierra Leone, when we research on Sierra Leone, what comes out does not give us encouragement to go into Sierra Leone. And this is a very big problem that is going to affect tourism. Because tourism is the face of the country. Tourism is a process and instrument through which they see the positive side of Sierra Leone. They see the culture of Sierra Leone. They see the natural resources we have, the beaches, the islands, the mountains, the flora and fauna, the wildlife. And these are the things that attract people to come. But if we have all of those things, and then when they research on Sierra Leone, and what they see are all negative images, people are going to turn their backs on us. So I will want to say at this point that with the French experience, I want to appeal to Sierra Leoneans, please, no matter what the circumstances are, I am appealing to you that contribute to tourism development, because tourism development brings jobs, attracts investment, by making sure that we are able to propagate the positive things about Sierra Leone. So that goes for the French, meeting.
If I could come in, you spoke of diversifying the economy. How can the ministry be used to diversify the economy as a whole?
Very good question. Now, we are talking about an economy over the years, even though when you look at how our economy is described, they tell you it's agricultural based, agriculture, mining, okay? They can tell you about forest and the like. But the way in which it is going to be different is that with tourism, you are going to attract investment first in the hospitality industry. What do I mean by that? You attract investment in the construction of hotels. And you know what that means? If you just have 2 or 3 brand hotels, the Hiltons, the Accords, the Sheratons, the Serena hotels, definitely those hotels are going to come out with huge job opportunities for all levels of people. That is on one side. The second aspect of diversifying the economy is the entertainment industry. You see the thousands of young people who are in the entertainment industry, who are thriving. Today, we are seeing examples of that. You see what is coming out on efforts being made, like efforts around promoting Miss Sierra Leone, efforts around promoting Big Sister, efforts around organizing this entertainment, and when these artists do come out to do this, like when you're having this Echo Fest, when they come out to do some of these shows. If only we can develop and support those initiatives and promote those initiatives, there are thousands of young people whose faces are hidden behind those that will be able to earn their living. Now, I am saying this because the typical example is what we saw in Nigeria during the reign of President Goodluck Jonathan. What he did was that he made a conscious effort to turn around the entertainment industry by investing hugely. Now look at the results we are having today. So this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. We are also talking about the small scale industries, the arts and crafts. We are talking about those. We are talking about people who are in the bead industry, the garata and dye industry, the painting industry, the film industry, the dancing industry. We are talking about a whole range of skills that rests among over 70% of Sierra Leoneans. So if we diversify and support those skills and are able to provide a kind of support for them to move away from the baby steps which they are making into steps that can be able to get them to compete globally, to trade, through investment, through entrepreneurship, I am sure people will not be pestering government about jobs. Jobs will be there. Now, if we also look at other areas of investment, when it comes to like international promotion, like when we participate in all of these shows, when we attend a number of these international tourism markets and all of that, the extent to which that lifts our profile, it automatically opens Sierra Leone to investment. Because once they see us on those platforms and they are able to know the weight of Sierra Leone, then it will attract a lot more industry. We are talking about the fashion industry. Now, a number of people in the United States have approached me that we need to organize the fashion industry because they want to come and support the fashion industry. That is why I am thinking about putting together a Sierra Leone association for fashion designers, because I'm having approaches abroad that they want to support this industry. So in essence, what I'm saying, there are many, many skills. You take, for instance, those people who are producing all of those videos. There are many, many skills and many, many opportunities in the industry. So if we look at that and tie that to the issue of our polytechnic training, which we are talking about building the skills, tying that to innovation, tying that into how do we ensure that we come on innovation, we tie that to appropriate science and technology, I think Sierra Leone is made. And I want to appeal to everybody that I think this is the way we should be thinking, that this industry is the industry to grow. It is the industry, once everybody is there and we are able to create the opportunities, I think we should be able to, we should be fine in going ahead. But as a ministry, there are many things which we have done to facilitate that.
You held a seminar last June, and then hotels like, most hotels like Roy complained about water and electricity in the seminar. So how is that problem being tackled?
Well, yes, I held a seminar, not only a seminar. I have, since I came on board, I have opened a public engagement program, public dialogue program. Because one of the things I identified was that there was poor communication between government and the rest of the sector. You take the hotels, you take the professionals like the startup, you take the different components of people who are in local content, who are in arts and craft, who are in the entertainment industry, the people who are in the esoteric, the masquerade group. There was very poor connection between government and those people. So one of the things which I have done is that I have reestablished all of those associations, and we are opening now civic public dialogue in all of them. So one of the associations, so one of the groups here is the hospitality industry. In fact, now they have a hotel association, which wherein all of them belong, and we have people there who are actually working with me very closely. So through that association, they have reached out to me to look at most of their challenges. One is the issue of water, which I have discussed with the Minister of Water Resources. There are two sides to the issue of water. One complaint which we inherited was that those who are receiving water are not being billed properly, like they were even overcharged. So the minister is looking into that. And then also the issue of water in that area. I think we've had discussions around it. Now there is also the issue of energy. I should also say that the Ministry of Energy, through the minister, they have already connected them through the main grid. But they are working on it in order that they can have the proper voltage that could supply all of them. The same with the ICT. The Ministry of Information through SALCAB also have also tried to give connection to the beach area. But what remains is actually now engagement with the service providers in order that they can be able to ensure that these services are on the beach. And then another bigger chunk of the problem which I inherited was a problem with the Environmental Protection Agency. What we inherited was a situation we are in terms of assessing the environmental impact assessment in terms of the construction and waste disposal. These hotels, we are being judged or we are being assessed through a process that was used for the industries. So they felt very disadvantaged. So they were charged exorbitant amounts of money, which they felt very strongly about it, and some of them were even in court. We met them, about over 10 of them had cases in court with EPA. But I worked very closely with Dr. Jawad. We are able to take the cases out of court. We engage them. We engage the process of how they can do a payment plan. So that one is also behind us. So many things are happening, and of course you know that we are trying to reorganize the beach area. You witnessed when we established that Adopt a Boot, which was basically beautification of the beaches, making sure it is organized properly, and ensuring that we bring businesses to support not only the organization but poor people who want to have those small booths so that they can use to rebrand their products, and then those booths can be made available to people who can be able to use them so that they can earn their livelihoods. We have also very recently launched our website. It is tourism.gov.sl. Okay, and then also there is the website of the National Tourist Board and the Monuments and Relics Commission. These are all new innovations that have not been there. So now you can go onto the internet and Google Sierra Leone and tourism, and you can see what we are doing here. You can see what we are doing across the world. And for us, that was a big sell for Ministry of Tourism when we went to France, because we met a situation wherein a host of people in Europe were saying, when we Google Sierra Leone in terms of tourism, what comes up is not encouraging. What comes up are images of the war. Then we said to them, now we have a website. So things are really changing very, very quickly.
Doctor, you made mention of the Adopt a Boot. And is it going to be affordable to the average Sierra Leoneans? Because from the hearing of it, it's a bit on the high side.
Well, I think it's good for us to talk about this. Okay. The first thing is that all over the world, you have your prime beach. And for Sierra Leone, Our prime beach is a Lumley beach, so it means we have to cherish it very much. Apart from the Lumley beach, we have 15 other beaches. And because it's our prime beach, and because we see how countries that have done well in tourism have reorganized their beaches, it is imperative for us to be able to ensure that we are able to reorganize and beautify our beaches. That is point number 1. Secondly, we have to consider that in reorganizing our beaches, we need to have projects that have multiplier effects. People who want to do children's playgrounds, people who want to construct volleyball courts, people who want to make courts probably which they can use for different kinds of activities that have multiplier effect. I think we need to consider that. So which means, as a ministry, we are going to ensure that the Lumley beach becomes a prime beach and makes provision for so many people. Thirdly, most of the people who are living on Lumley beach, majority of them are running either beach bars or places where they sell food. You see, how can you take your whole prime beach? You just leave it for people who want to sell roast meat, who want to sell pega pack, who want to sell. Yes, we are not saying those activities are not important. But what we are saying is that as a prime beach, we need to develop that beach so that it can match international standards. So which means that we are going to plan it in such a manner that we have to create spaces for this kind of world-class arrangements. And then on the back of it, we will now make provision for people who want to do all this kind of businesses. So that is why you notice that we had that small booth. This is purely for people who want to go there to sell. Okay? But even there, the bottom line of all of this in terms of changing the beaches is to promote the creative industry, the arts and craft market, things which when people come to Lumley Beach, they see and feel Sierra Leone culture, because that is it. So we are looking at also even those people who may come forward to go into this small booth. Part of the condition is that you must have something that has to do with the creative industry. Because if you are not going to do something that will promote tourism and you want to occupy our prime areas, I'm not sure you're a client for us. There are many, we've made provision somehow, but our main focus is to transform it so that we can have an internationally standard, organized and fashionable beach. I think this is the dream. I mean, people, to some extent, everybody wants to go there to do whatever they can. That is no longer going to be the case. That is why we are having these small booths which are on the different sites where you can go to. But they will have to allow us so that we give the beach the level of touristic attraction that it deserves. Okay? There are other beaches. You have Godrich, you have Troke, you have number 2, you have Laka, you have Kent, you have Sussex. I think there are many. So I want Sierra Leoneans to think big, to think nationalistic, to think that it is time for the transformation of Sierra Leone. And we are moving with this transformation in tourism unstoppable. Because I want to see a tourism industry that everybody will be proud of. So when you bring somebody to that beach, you can have the respect and regard that it deserves. That is why, again, we have gone closer. You know, we started with our campaign for clean smart cities, wherein I myself, you saw the videos over time, when we have the National Clean Saturday, I go there myself. Because I don't want somebody to describe, the situation. Some of them have been badly used, and we have a terrible experience as a result of sand mining. And unfortunately, this sand mining, to some extent, is being perpetuated by people who we expect much from. And I'm using this opportunity to talk to them. Sand mining has destroyed our beaches. So that is on one side. The second point is on the islands. Now, in reviewing and doing an integrated strategic plan, my vision, I said tourism is not only about Lumley Beach. I inherited a ministry wherein the whole of tourism is about Lumley Beach. Although there are other arrangements there, but the focus was so much. And Lovely Beach is not. It's, I mean, when you talk about tourism, it's about Sierra Leone. And my focus is on Sierra Leone. So that is why, in fact, my first outlet is Bond Island. Many reasons. All over the world, when you want to develop tourism, you need to ensure that you have those exotic and exclusive beaches that have all what is required for you to be able to ensure that you have what it takes to develop your country as a fantastic destination. So we have identified Bond Island as our heartbeat of tourism in terms of looking at developing exotic, attractive destinations. Many reasons. Bond Island has the historic. It has a historic background when it comes to our history, British colonialism and all of that.
Are those historic relics, are they still alive?
They are alive, but in a very bad shape. That is why.
How are you going to, you as
that
a minister,
is why
how are you going to tackle all these
very
issues?
Good. So the first step in terms of tackling it, this is the very first time in the history of Sierra Leone that the Ministry of Tourism has gone to Bond Island as a ministry. And I think people need to recognize that. You can imagine going there. I went with over 15 staff members of the Ministry of Tourism, from National Tourist Board, Monuments and Heritage Commission, Cultural Directorate, Tourism Directorate. We all went there in full force. The first objective was for us to go there. That's why the staff went to Bond 2 days before the Friday. That is why we took all of them there, for them to go and do an assessment, to do a survey, to take pictures, to be able to tell us what we need to work on. Secondly, we got a group of them that went out to the sea for 2 days. They only come in the evening to sleep. They went there with their cameras, they went there with drones. So now we have clear-cut images of all the adjacent islands to Bond Island, York Island, Turtle Island, all of those islands you see around there. So which means we now have a clear idea of what we want to do in Bond. And the interesting thing is that Bond has got an airfield, which shows if we transform that, we have maybe our own international development partners, or we partner with very big global tour operators, or countries. I'm looking at countries which we can be able to present and expose Bond to, so that we come in a joint partnership as a government and them to transform it into a resort. I think this is the kind of thinking we are talking about. So we went there. In fact, we went to Bond at night. We went across that river at night because we arrived very late. But we had many people that supported us. Luker Commercial Bank was there. Some people from NASIT. Of course, we had the Bond District family. The mayor was fantastic. The deputy speaker was also fantastic. The MPs were there. Every day, the town was in jubilation, as if something has changed. We went there, we presented tools, we recruited people who should be cleaning, because the point is, as I said to them, now that we are going to put this place on video internationally, we may have people who may want to come and see. So we will not want to be caught off guard. So when they come, they know what they are going to see. So this is the kind of development, and it's nice. But it's not only Bond, but we are looking at Bond very, very closely, because if you want to do a cruise now, you can do a cruise from Freetown to Bond. It takes you 6 hours. You can go around. You can see so many development. That is when you approach Sierra Leone. And I want to tell people that I think we missed the point in Sierra Leone because of the fact that we turned our backs on tourism. We don't travel. Half of Sierra Leone is made up of islands. Beautiful islands that of high touristic value.
Well, viewers, we're going on a brief break. You are watching and listening to Face the Nation on Freetown Television Network. Don't forget to send your messages to the numbers on the screen. And those of us watching on Facebook, drop your comments and we will make them heard. I am Natasha Bowman. Let's go for a short break. We will be right back.
Sierra Leone is a very beautiful country with seas, mountains, island, and lush vegetation. Sierra Leone is a stunningly beautiful place with lovely sandy beaches and relatively calm ocean seas, which are all ingredients of a paradise on earth, with considerable tourism potential for the country. The beaches of Freetown Western Peninsula are a comparable quality to leading beaches around the world, with their tropical ambience, green scenic vista and white golden sands. The beaches are beautiful and breathtaking. On a clear day, they offer a clear representation of colors of the Sierra Leone flag. The green backdrop of the mountains, coupled with the white sand at number 2 beach, and clear blue water brings really does offer a taste of paradise. Potentially, it represents the prime opportunity for the development of tourism in the country. The beaches are good for camping and can serve as prime areas for international holiday beach tourism. The beauty of Sierra Leone.
Sierra Leone, the land of stories. Ecotourism, contemporary tradition blended with luxury at its best. Land of the resilient. Though widely known for its mines and minerals, Sierra Leone is the New York of West Africa.
Feeling. This country, oh my God, it's beautiful. This is something that is special to me. For strangers to have the same feeling that I carry every single day.
Each day brings along beauty, telling the stories of people who never see others as strangers. At Gola Rainforest, 40 kilometers east of Kanima, enjoy the warm welcome from the people of Saletti Kingdom, protectors of the Gola National Park. Explore on foot the mixed landscape of hills, rivers, grasslands, and the rainforests. Here you find an interesting diversity of wildlife in West Africa. Bird species, butterflies, over 49 different species of mammals, especially a more than 300 chimpanzees, and home of the pygmy hippos. With 21 protected areas, Sierra Leone houses some of the most unspoilt jungles and beaches in the world.
Welcome back. We're still on Face the Nation, and my guest for today is Honorable Dr. Memunatu Pratt, a Minister of Tourism and Culture. And for those who have not been watching, some of our viewers left a couple of text messages and messages on Facebook, and I'm going to read but a few, not just all. Mr. Mahmoud Kanu said, "My dear, Sierra Leone is politically under siege." And another comment, "The industry needs emancipation, and that can be achieved under your leadership. You have our support." And there is one, Sheku Kone, "Madam Minister, you can change the people by giving strategic messaging in a better platform if only we can Yes, we can. With the relentless perseverance, there is every need to research this area and promote the tourism industry and preserve our cultural heritage. Mahmoud Kanu, since I was born, Sierra Leone government, minister and civil servants always complained about problem heritage. I hope you understand. Since he was born. And there's another one from, the name isn't quite right. How about the security issues for tourist protection? There are so many illegal activities happening in our tourism industry. So let's talk about security and protection for the tourists coming into the country. How secure are they?
That's okay.
Yes.
Okay. Let me thank the listeners for the feedback. I think generally it shows that a lot of Sierra Leoneans want the best for Sierra Leone. And what it also shows is that it seems tourism is going to be the hub that is going to unite Sierra Leoneans. And that is what I am saying. Because it doesn't matter what. I think all of us know that when tourism develops, our national image grows, it is going to impact positively on Sierra Leoneans in diaspora, especially in terms of how they are going to view them when they want to do proper business. Now, somebody says Sierra Leone is under siege. Well, I really cannot tell from which perspective that person is coming from, that Sierra Leone is under siege. Now, I will want to think that they may be thinking politically, but I want to tell Sierra Leoneans that we have been through the worst over the decades. Now,
We are seeing the light at the end of the day.
the reason being that politics is politics. There is time for politicking and there is time for development. And I will want to say that let us move one step forward and say that we've done with elections. Elections are over and this is time for development. We should not in any way occupy our minds with so many negative things to an extent that we lose the future. Losing the future means we need to have all of us on board in order that we can be able to let Sierra Leone progress. Now, for instance, politically, this person is saying, what probably you may be seeing in terms of transition is not new. In 2007, we went through the same process. Eventually, we came together. We have the good days, we have the bad days. So, I mean, for me, if people want to use that and hold on to that, I think they will be doing a disservice to this country. And we'll be destroying the future for our children, we'll be destroying
Our current
livelihoods, we'll be destroying the development.
development of Sierra Leone.
So once that is over, we move on, we develop Sierra Leone, and then whenever we come back to politics, we talk about politics. Now, there is this question of the industry needs
Emancipation. I agree totally with that person.
because
What we inherited as a government,
with the good leadership of His Excellency, because of the fact that in the State of Union address, he spent about 5 minutes talking about tourism. I think for me, that is the starting point
of the emancipation, because we have never had a president in this country
that has taken
that lead to emancipate tourism like the current president. So I want all of us, for many different reasons,
to appreciate that leadership, because no matter
what could have transpired, if we do not have the political will to move tourism ahead, to have the right ministers in place, to give the political will, to give me the freedom, to give me the resources, there is nothing I can do in terms of emancipation.
So I think in terms of emancipation, yes. But I think the right blocks are now in place. and especially looking at what is happening. Research, preservation,
and conservation is a very, very important area.
I inherited an industry wherein the expertise for
Preservation and conservation is lacking.
and it's a big headache. We need archaeologists, we need social anthropologists, we need well-grounded historians, we need very sober social scientists.
In language, in culture, in excavation, in dating. Sierra Leone does not have that. It's a headache.
So, but I want
To say that as a minister, the good news is that I am coming from academia.
the good news.
News is that I know about all of these skills,
I know how to manage them,
and I know which institutions, universities, and countries that I'm going to speak to,
so that
we can have a joint program.
program to be able to support preservation.
And conservation is a fundamental problem. Most of our monuments and relics are in a very bad state.
And I want to reach out to even diaspora that it is not only
Sitting and criticizing. It is also about finding solutions. Those ones that are outside that have all of this expertise, have the contacts. Let them come to Sierra Leone and help us to develop this. No one person can do it. Like all of these areas, we don't have those expertise.
so it's a problem, and I want Sierra Leoneans
So
to know
it's a problem
we cannot solve that magic in vacuum. So these are the positive things that
that you should do. If you want to sell tourism, we need preservationists, conservationists, sociologists, social anthropologists, archaeologists.
we need all of them to come back to Sierra Leone. If you go
And see some of those grave sites. For instance, when I went to Bont,
I saw
some of those churches dating back to 200-300 years.
I saw remnants, I saw
Relics
of
institutions like that we used to have the patterns in Zekonis. These are the historic monuments of Sierra Leone. Children don't know it.
that is why
Maybe we have a lot of children who all their time on social media talking about politics, not learning about the history. I'm saying this from an academic point of view, not as a politician.
people have to learn a lot in order to do what we are doing now. The preservation and
Conservation has to do with the heritage problem. This is what constitutes our heritage. But one good news is that we are proposing a national heritage bill. I'm taking it to cabinet, we are taking it to parliament.
hopefully that national heritage is going to
Make provision for diversified areas for entertainment, for culture, preservation, and all of that.
in order that
We can have the relevant regulation,
we can also
set the framework. So I
I want people to appreciate the amount of work that is needed to do. Okay, now we're talking
about security issues.
of course we
Have
have
the police. But one way in which as tourism have addressed security issue, in the first place, is removing illegal people on those beaches.
some of those people are shouting that they have just removed us. Those are illegal people.
People
You want it
to
to
write to the ministry, okay,
and then we are able to
ensure that we provide. If you're not on Lumley Beach,
we can find somewhere else for you. But with the police, because
because we've done this,
we are
not
not
taking serious
measures,
in terms of documentation of who is there.
we are providing,
Providing background checks.
we are asking
Asking people to sign guarantors form. We are bringing out forms where you're going to sign and tell us if there is any criminal activity, I know who I'm going to ask. So it's not going to be business as usual, because if I am going out, we are all going out, and government is expending huge amounts of money
to promote
tourism internationally. And when we have people to come and then these people are attacked, then it's
actually going to defeat the whole purpose. So much is going to be around security, and of course,
I say issues of tourism. Issues of tourism is massive. We want to promote domestic tourism,
wherein we can
be able to organize activities wherein people in Western area can visit the North, the South, and the East to know what is there, to learn what is there. All of those exchanges goes towards strengthening nationalism.
So we are doing quite a lot
On domestic tourism
through our campaign. We are also doing quite a lot of domestic tourism. We are also trying to introduce
use things like city and provincial tours. We've piloted it, but we need resources, we need partnership. But I just want to say, I am not sitting here as somebody who is only coming to present the problems. I have been very much on top of it with a number of countries to come back and see how we can partner to solve some of these problems.
If I may come in, we are still having a lot of text messages to go through, and number one says, well done, madam. Minister, it is well said. There is a great potential in the tourism sector. Let the government pay more attention on it. That is from Kaba from Lumley. With the budget allocation to your ministry, are you able to work effectively, or you rely on donors? Fatima from Kisi. I'm sure the tourism industry is not only beaches and hotels. The music, art industry and cultural should also be a priority. Cristiano from Juba. Great program. Keep it up. Lovetta Pademba Road. And what is the cost of the adopt a boot? Much emphasis is not paid on the beaches. What are we saying? What we are seeing is hotels and restaurants. Let it be affordable. So there's like 3 questions in this one. Marine from Regent. What is the relationship between the monument, the relics, and the relics commission? The look silence. Momo Kamara from Lunge. And from also from our Facebook page, another message. A lot of people are leaving their comments. Mahmoud Kanu. Bond has become a priority on Sierra Leone. Tourism, sectionalism, and regionalism. John Meshach, Naomi. Fix the visa problem in the long run. You will have more people visiting Sierra Leone. Barry, you are on track, Madam Minister. Very interesting, Madam Minister. I am very happy for your ideas. Hope you turn them into reality. Is there any hope for some of us to get a job in the tourism here in the USA? And John Durin, let's remove politics from this. We should focus on building a nation. So these are the few questions and comments coming into our Facebook, and people, Madam Minister, people really want us an answers.
Now I think I am so happy today that I am now succeeding in building my tourism movement for Sierra Leone. It should be a movement. And I'm trying to conscientize Sierra Leoneans that we should think tourism. Because tourism, apart from all of this, entertainment, of course, I spoke about music and art, maybe that person is not here. Apart from all of this, let us see tourism as a symbol of unity. Because you are talking about culture, you are talking about tradition, we are talking about our cultural dressing, we are talking about food, we are talking about fashion. Now, because I'm coming from governance and peace background, tourism for me is the software for sustainable peace and social cohesion. So let us look at the politics of tourism itself. The politics of it itself in terms of promoting good governance. That you can use tourism and culture to promote peaceful coexistence, to bridge ethnic divide. Like if you use domestic tourism, if we have the support and we start to move people, because you see sometimes what brings the stereotyping and misconception, it is because people are being told things since they were born. They have not been exposed to go to these places to prove whether what they have been told is true, whether what they have been told is not true. For instance, when we went to Bond, we saw something totally different. So I think the politics is about social cohesion. It should be the soft landing for building long-term sustainable peace. Now, of course, there are also people who spoke about whether going to Bond is sectionalism. I totally disagree. And I want to tell people, you see, this stigmatization which we have in Sierra Leone, okay, I am doing this because I am minister, because I come from Freetown. I think we should take those things out of our way. Let us look at things the way they are. I want to challenge people, if they want to, when we are going next to Bond, to join me to go there and see the huge touristic opportunities. This is one place where everything is tied together. You have the island, you have the touristic reserve, you have the kind of flora and fauna. It is a flat land, it has an airport, it has a very good area where you can do a jetty, It can create a cruise because there are many chain islands around it. So why should we people think when we decide to use it as our icon of island and people think it's political? I think they are not getting it right. I want people to tell me, in the whole of Sierra Leone, which part of Sierra Leone has those features that we've seen in terms of our assessment on tourism? Now you move to islands like Seychelles, or you go to places like Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt and all of those places. You have islands, they have airports, they have 5-star hotels, they have resorts, they have cruise marina, all lodged in one. They have the historical side. So if people want to think political, I want to challenge them. Let them read on tourism and let them show me another island in Sierra Leone that has all these qualities. Then we will start to talk. Now let us talk about visas. I did not talk about visas because I knew questions were coming. We have already worked on visas, and I am quite sure you must have heard the Vice President making the pronouncement that now we have visa on landing at the border from Guinea, Dalamuya, and then also from Liberia. That you can land in those places and come, you have visa on landing. So which means we are working towards the whole concept of visa on landing and improving our visa experience. As a ministry, we have worked very closely with the Ministry of Internal Affairs to be able to address it. So that one is in the making. Then, of course, I will add on to that we are also working with the Ministry of Finance to reduce the taxes on air tickets. And I want to commend the Ministry of Finance. They have been very supportive to the Ministry of Tourism. They are there because we need them to ensure that we grow. They have been doing very well to ensure that tourism grows because they know the implications in terms of the returns on investment. Now, of course, job creation, it is at the heart of tourism. And then when we talk about job creation, we are talking about job creation in the private sector. Now, people should know that when we talk about jobs, it is only in countries like Sierra Leone that people sit and wait for government to give jobs. It is not like that. Many parts of the world, governments are the least, they employ the least number of persons. What government does is facilitate the private sector to grow and create job opportunities. And this is what the tourism will present itself to do. So my point is that we have more jobs in the private sector than in the public sector when it comes to tourism. So for you in the USA, of course, yes, we need promotion. We need people who can promote Sierra Leone. We need people who are coming and train our fashion designers, who can come in and train our artists. We need people who can invite us to do exhibitions abroad. So these are all things which we can do. Now, of course, tourism is nation building. I think this is the most appropriate quotation that this person has given me today, that tourism is nation building. I cannot agree more. Because when you take tourism, it is not only about one, internationally, your country is going to be known globally. The implication is that investors will come, projects will be done, governments will have a better even representation because many people across the world are coming to see what we are doing. Secondly, domestically, it is not only creating jobs, it's going to harness talents, youth, entertainment industry, culture, music, dance, folklore, hotels, all will boom. And I think this is what nation building is. So I think for me, this is a good note in terms of ending on those comments. And I want people to take this across to say that tourism is nation building.
Well, we're going for a break and we'll be back shortly.
Dare the Atlantic Ocean with a boat trip to the Banana Island, which encompasses the brutal history of humanity. Visible footprints of slave trade, ruins of fire cannons, Venetian street lamps far back to the 17th century. walled ruins of St. Luke's Church, 1813, and the church bell of 1870. Beside the church, Hole of the Brave, captured natives who refused boarding were tortured and dropped to extermination. Today, Banana Island is peaceful, with 5 low-key chill-out beaches and restaurant. For those keen on discovering new horizons, Sierra Leone welcomes you with open arms. Sierra Leoneans attribute more value to their heritage. A vast collection of traditional and colonial artifacts are displayed at the National Museum in Freetown. Well-crafted information walk you through the pages of time, from present day right back to 2,500 years.
Welcome back to Face the Nation. And Dr. Memunatu Pratt, what's the way forward for the ministry?
Well, the way forward for the ministry is on several fronts. First, we are still in the process of reorganizing and building the tourism infrastructure, looking at the laws, looking at our links with different ministries, looking at our relationship with the telecom sector, our relationship with the aviation industry, our links with our tourism professional association, and of course I did not talk about tourism education because we are already floating the Bachelor of Social Science program at Fabi College for next year, and we are working very closely with Hotel and Tourism Center. We are in our training center where we will try to review the curriculum. We are trying to ensure that we refurbish the buildings, and we are trying to work with the association, the Startup Association, for us to look at a number of public programs. Secondly, we are looking at our international rebranding. We are now actively participating in the global events on tourism. We are in France, and I want to tell the nation that in November, we are going to the World Tourism Market in London. And we are going there big time, and we are hoping to put together a lot of programs. But this time around, we are engaging the media in Sierra Leone so that we can see how they can stream us live. One of the things which we are going to do there is I'm going to do an international rebranding platform forum so that I can present Sierra Leone tourism potentials to the UK businesses. And I hope some of my colleagues will join me. And then we are also going to participate in the tourism fair as well, which is going to be attended by over 60 countries. We're also going to have our booth. We'll be doing press conferences. But we are working with partners so that I am trying to ensure that those events are streamed live to Sierra Leone. Because I want Sierra Leone to be with me when I'm doing this. Because if the people of Sierra Leone are not well sensitized or are not well informed, because it's a ministry that has lagged behind for over decades, because the people have a lot of work to do to support this program. So we are also trying to do that as well. And then also we are looking at our campaign for Clean Smart Cities, which we are also taking along. We are also looking at activities of the Monuments and Relics Commission. Somebody asked me what's the link. Monuments and Relics Commission is one of the agencies under the Ministry of Tourism and Culture. Their main role is to secure, is to renovate, is to refurbish monuments and relics. We also have the National Museum, we have the Railway Museum, we have the National Tourist Board, which is purely the marketing arm of the ministry. And I also want this opportunity to clarify that because of poor governance in the past, because of bad governance and the way in which tourism was used as a one-man show. A lot of people at home and abroad are thinking that
the National Tourist Board is the Ministry of Tourism. I am making it categorically clear here that there is a Ministry of Tourism which is government
that has a regulatory, the supervisory, the administrative functions of those agencies, and that National Tourist Board is just the marketing and promotion arm of government.
So I think that again, so way forward is people to have all of this. We are continuing our promotional events. We are trying to do a forum for civil society and the media on tourism, because the media has generated a lot of interest on tourism, and we want to bring them up to speed because we want to see the articles and all of that. So there are domestic tourism and the arts and culture is all working with the esoteric group, working on the band, so that hopefully we start to see them again, in the streets in terms of celebrations and all of that. But let me say thank you to FTN. Thank you to all of those people who are supporting us, the telecommunications industry. But I will not end by thanking His Excellency the President for his support and leadership, and then also the staff of Ministry of Tourism. And finally, I will say thanks to my host. Apparently, she is one of our students in the Department of Peace and Conflict Studies. She seems to be doing very well. So for those people who think peace and conflict studies, it's a different case now, eh? So it's a transformational discipline. On that note, let me say goodbye to you all. Thank you all. Ministry of Tourism, tourism.gov.sl. Go there. Come to the ministry. Support the ministry. Be with us. We will be with you, and we will deliver on our promises.
Well, that's all we have for you in this edition of Face the Nation. And as always, we would like to receive your comments or feedbacks or suggestions on any of our programs. Do send them to our Facebook page at FTN News, or by email to freetowntelevision.network@gmail.com, or by text messages on +232 078 271 I have been your presenter, Natasha Buma. Face the Nation returns next Sunday. Thanks for watching.